Greetings and welcome to a quick demonstration on how to produce a RAMS for a ground screw installation. I'm not going to complete it in full, but it should show the steps required to produce the RAMS. So firstly, log into the software, come down to your projects section, click on that, click on add, assign your premises that's in charge, assign the person within your own company who's going to be in charge of producing the method statement and keeping it up to date, and assign the person who will be in charge on site. Give the project a title, put in the start date of the project and the end date of the project. And if you're working underneath a principal contractor or a commercial client, fill these in. If you're only working on a domestic project, you can leave these orange. Fill in a brief project description. Fill in the address of the project, which I'm not going to do now. Add the method statement. Give it a title. Ground screw Mrs. Smith. As the example, again fill in our premises. Our method statement manager is Christian. Our works lead on site as Matthew. We need to select the generic risk assessments that relate to installing a ground screw. Work your way down this list and select the ones that you think may be relevant. It should be relatively straightforward. I'm not going to select them all now, but for example, we want to avoid danger from underground services. We want to know what to do in the event that we strike an underground service, coronavirus construction, and we'll put the last one here as installation ground screws. There will be more that are relevant, so just work your way down the list and put ticks in next to the ones that are relevant for ground screws. At this point, you should use the MS specific RAs button to produce a risk assessment that is specific to the project. Here you would list the project hazards, such as if there are any overhead cables or if you know of any underground services, etc. We now want to select the COSH assessments that may be relevant to the project. Diesel for the van, maybe line marking spray paint to mark the positions of the ground screws. Silica dust if we have to drill into concrete at all. Again, fill in the lead company if you're working underneath a principal contractor or if you're working for a commercial client. If it's a domestic client, you can leave these orange. Click on the arrangements button. Fill in the arrangements that might be applicable. We'll only tick a few here. Work your way down the list and pick out the ones that you believe are required. We'll tick on communication, we'll tick on delivery of materials, and maybe we will tick on site rules. Once we've selected them with a green tick, click on done. We can see that they're included here. We now need to add some text underneath each one. So if we click on this blue button here, the edit button to go into communication, we can put in here Toolbox Talks Weekly. We can look at the delivery materials. When we click on the blue button, it enters some generic text. We can adjust that text as we so wish. And then site rules, we can click on that and we could put in there, for example, all persons must wear high-vis and safety footwear. That's your arrangements done in brief. We want to put the start date of this method statement and the end date of this method statement. Brief description. Now we want to add the template sequence of operations in the order required. So we click on here, add from template. First of all, we want to enter the site. So we click on that one, click add. Then delivery and unloading of rigid materials from a flatbed lorry, because we need to unload the ground screws from the lorry onto the site. add those in. We need to carry out some pre-use checks. If we're using any lifting plants like a forklift and strops, we need to do a pre-use check on the lifting accessories, pre-use check on the lifting plant, and we also need to do a check for any underground or overground obstructions, so we add those in. Next up, we need to set out the positions of the ground screws, so we click on the setting out paragraph and we add those in. We then need to drill our pilot holes into the ground, so again select that paragraph and add it in. And lastly, we need to wind in the ground screws. So we search for the paragraph, we click on it, and we add that to the method statement. Once done, we can then click on the print button, and that will produce a folder on our desktop called RAMS. Within it, we will have our method statement for the ground screw installation for method Mrs. Smith. Thank you very much. For more information, please visit www.eor.app.